buried in that temple in Loyang. Then from there, a little north to that is the Shaolin Temple. The Shaolin Temple was built by another emperor for an Indian monk called Batua. And it was built there because it was built to make things comfortable for him so that he could translate Sanskrit scriptures into Chinese. Then in the meantime, Bodhidharma landed there, and even the abbot at the temple didn't kind of get along with him because he had his own concept of Buddhism. So they took him up, so he went off into this cave about 3,000 feet above in Mount Shonshan, and he meditated there for 9 years. Now there are many stories regarding that. They say he meditated there and he became so numb due to his long hours of meditation that his lower body fell away. Then they say that to keep awake, he actually cut off his eyelids one day and threw it on the ground, and there tea plants grew up. So there are many fables, and to sit down and go through all that and say, okay, this happened in the 5th century, most probably they were trying to create a kind of myth about this guy. Because from the Shaolin Temple, I climbed this mountain. We started at 6 in the morning and went on till about 3 in the afternoon. I am now terribly out of shape. At that time, I was reasonably in shape. But the Chinese have a very dirty habit. They don't build their steps zigzag on a mountain to make it easy. They build it straight upwards. Each step is about 9 inches, all sloping downwards. And when you got a camera bag with 2 bodies and 3 lenses and all that, and you're climbing this, believe me, your tongue is between your knees. Yet, every day there was an old man in that village. Now you have soda bottles where you unscrew the cap and it fizzes. In India at that time, and in China also, there was this very thick glass bottles where they would fill it up with the drink and then pump it up with gas and then extract a marble which would come up and seal the top. So when you wanted to open it, you actually put your thumb in that and whack the marble, and the marble went out, and then the gas fizzed, and then you drank the drink. This guy would carry about 50 of these bottles every day from ground level up to about 2/3 of the way up the mountain. If you looked at him, you would think that any minute he would fall on his face and die. He was that old. This guy was prehistoric. And when I carried these camera bags and when I reached this guy, I was dead. I was, in a way, believe it or not, I was ready to give up. And then he and Jo, who was my guide, she was a 22-year-old, and she would climb every step, but she was very sweet. She would stop and she would, every 10 steps, to give me, I think, a break, and she would say, this mountain is named, this peak is named this, it was named after this person. And then when she saw me getting my breath together, okay, it was another 10 steps and another story. So when we reached this old guy, these two were talking together, and I said, after some time, what are you talking about? And she said, well, looking at your condition, he doesn't think you'll reach the top. I was so angry. I said, to hell with this old guy. I took my bag and I reached the top. But when I reached the top, all I could do was lie down for half an hour. I was dead, completely screwed out. But then from there I got some very beautiful pictures of the surrounding areas, including the Wushu Training Center, which was built around 1986 or so by the Chinese government. Unfortunately, I must apologize, the slides and the photographs and the documents that I have are all due to some mishap, locked up in a house where I couldn't get into. So you'll have to rely on the maps I sneaked out from the Chinese and the Indian tourist office, and I'll put up some drawings. I'm not very good at art, I'm good at photography, but it'll give you an idea what it is all about. When I reached this cave, which is about 100 feet from the top of that particular mountain, it is incredible. You stand there. This was in 89. Now the place is, I guess, booming. In 89, and the place is desolate. There is nothing. There's zero, zilch in all 4 directions. And to think at that time this monk sat there and meditated and lived there for 9 years. Food obviously came to him from the monks at the Shaolin Temple. So he didn't live for 9 years, starving himself or living on love and fresh air. But he got the food from the monks and he did exercises, etc. Then he found he was teaching a bifurcation of Mahayana Buddhism. Hinayana Buddhism, which is lesser vehicle Buddhism, already existed in China from 5 centuries before Christ. It had been traveling around. This guy went there in the 5th century AD, and he propagated Mahayana Buddhism, and people, according to records, loved Mahayana Buddhism better because Hinayana Buddhism says you seek salvation but only for yourself. Mahayana Buddhism says you seek salvation not only for yourself but take others along with you. Try to save others. So people got more interested in it. It was new also. And so things started getting more channeled towards his sort of Buddhism. Then when he went up into this cave 1 year, 2 years, and he stayed there and he didn't come down, then people started saying, you know, this is a holy man, and he was called, okay, let me see. The young lady at the back there, please stand up. Yeah, we'll make you a model for 1 minute. Okay, if you look at her eyes, Chinese, you see the eyes are slanted sidewards, which is a form of beauty where the Chinese are concerned. Now you can sit down. But when an Indian like me, like Bodhidharma, landed there, our eyes, the round eyes, were something unique for the Chinese. So they called him a wild-eyed barbarian. That was what he was termed first. And then, you know, you analyze this and you say, okay, why wild-eyed? And then for them, our eyes are completely round, and it was like, you know, you're staring at something after having got a kind of a fright. But he was very good in the senses. He stayed there, he lived there for 9 years. And then in teaching these monks at the Shaolin Temple, and they used to go up there regularly, Mahayana Buddhism, which entails many, many hours of meditation, he found that the circulatory system was getting tied up. And so he started teaching them different types of yogic exercises and different types of the martial arts systems which came from India with him. Having been the prince in his own place, this guy would have definitely been taught all these martial arts and everything else. The Chinese took that and adapted it to their own systems. It's not to say the Chinese didn't have the martial arts. They had different types of martial arts all over China. But if I say the martial arts and yoga and everything else, much as people try to say it came from religion, it came from Hinduism, it came from here and there, I believe it came from nature. Man watching nature learned these various things. And if you look at, I had 2 cats, the love of my lives. I think I love them better than my wife because ultimately she left me. But if you notice these 2 cats, even when they are fighting or when they are playing, or animals, you'll always find one will put out the hand and the other will wrap it away. And it's the same thing in karate. The left hand comes out, the right hand taps it away from the body or blocks it, and the counter comes. And so my very firm conviction is they human beings studied this and adapted it to themselves. And then, of course, there were some with an ego who decided that I devised this. I devised this form of martial arts. No, it came from nature. If anybody tells me that he devised it, he is nothing else but a bald-faced liar. I think I'm watching in my friend's place MSNBC too much. I'm becoming like Keith Olbermann, who's very, very rough on the politicians. So for me to say it was, see, Hinduism is there. Everything related to Hinduism was chronicled in the Shastras, as part of the Shastras. So even though it was chronicled there, that doesn't mean it came from the Hindu gods. It didn't. Somebody just didn't get up and, okay, I have devised the martial arts and this god gave it to me. No, no, no. It doesn't. It evolved over a period of time. Like the medicinal systems, etc., evolved over a period of time. And the medicinal system, coming back to it, it's still evolving because new diseases are coming up all the time. But where Bodhidharma was concerned, he taught them not only